Hello everyone, my name is Manuela Rodriguez. This is my CSE 341 Project 2 Part 2. In this project, I create a REST API using Node.js, Express, MongoDB, Swagger documentation, input validation, error handling, CRUD operation, and GitHub authentication. My API is deployed on render. This is the Swagger documentation for my API. It contains two collections, pets and veterinarians. Both collections support complete CRUD operations. Swagger allows me to test each endpoint directly from the browser, and to protect routes require GitHub authentication. Now I will test the getPets endpoint. After clicking execute, the API returns a 2000 OK status code along with the list of pets stored in my MongoDB database. This confirms that the connection to the database is working correctly and that the endpoint retrieves the data successfully. Next, I will test the get veterinarians endpoint. As you can see, the API returns a 2000 OK response with all veterinarians stored in the database. Now I am going to demonstrate the GitHub OAuth authentication. In my API, the get endpoints are public, but the post, put, and delete endpoints are protected. Users must authenticate with GitHub before accessing these routes. This endpoint starts the GitHub OAuth authentication process. Since it's redirected to GitHub, I'll open it directly in the browser. After authenticating with GitHub, the session is created successfully, and I can now access the protected endpoints. Now I'll create a new pet using the post endpoint. Since I am authenticated with GitHub, I have access to this protected route. I'll fill in the pet information and execute the request. The request was successful and returned a 2001 created status code. Now I'll open MongoDB Compass to verify that the new document was added to the database. Here is the pets collection, and after refreshing the database, we can see the new pet that was just created. Next, I'll update the pet I just created. I'll modify some of its information and then execute the put request. The update request was successful. I returned to MongoDB Compass to verify that the changes were applied. After refreshing the collection, we can see that the pet's information has been updated. This confirms that the put endpoint correctly modified the existing document. Finally, I'll delete the same pet using the delete endpoint. The delete request was successful. I'll go back to MongoDB Compass one last time to verify that the document has been removed. After refreshing the collection, the pet is no longer present. This confirms that the delete endpoint successfully removed the document from the database. My database contains two collections, pets and veterinarians. The pets collection has 7 fields: name, species, breed, age, gender, color, and weight, satisfying the project requirements. Now I'll demonstrate the validation implemented in my API. I'll try to create a page with invalid data by leaving the required name file empty. When I execute the request, the API returns a 400 path request along with validation error message. This shows that invalid data is rejected before it researches the database. I'll do the same with the veterinarian's collection by providing an invalid email address. Again, the API returns a 400 baht request with validation error. This confirms that both collections use input validation to prevent invalid data from being stored. Now I'll demonstrate the error handling implemented in my API. I'll send a request using an invalid pet ID. As expected, the API returns a 400 baht request with the message invalid pet ID. This shows that the application validates the request before querying the database and handles error appropriately. I repeat the same test with the veterinarian's endpoint. Again, the API returns a 400 baht request, confirming that error handling is implemented. Finally, I'll demonstrate the logout functionality. Since I'm currently authenticated, I'll end my session by accessing the logout route. Now I'll return to the home page. As you can see, the application displays logged out, confirming that my session has ended successfully. This concludes my Project 2 demonstration. I have shown the API running on render, CRUD operation for both collection, data validation, error handling, GitHub authentication, Swagger documentation, and updates made directly in MongoDB. Thanks for watching!